We all know what it's like to feel like life is behaving in a glitchy manner, where the code doesn't feel like it's been written correctly. And yeah, you feel like you're living in a simulation. And I'm not going to include deja vu or dreams in this discussion because, from my perspective, deja vu and dreams are the what's the deal with airplane food of discussing the possibility of life being a simulation. Yeah, we know it's weird, but I don't know, just everyone's talked it to death. I want to talk about other things that suggest things are not as they seem. Okay, here's a couple that spring to mind. Number one, I am my mind is I just can't wrap my head around the fact that certain people show up and do certain jobs to keep the life on Earth sustained. The example I would give is on Reddit the other day, I was reading about like shitty jobs people have to do. And people were complaining about like, oh, what's the worst sector to work into, within. And I believe it was in the Australian subreddit. And someone said, yeah, I know a lot of people who work in chicken slaughterhouses in Australia. And yeah, as you can imagine, it's a fucking horrible place to work. Loud, disgusting, and stinky. And you have to like essentially kind of walk along and grab all these chickens and kill them, like wring their necks if they're not right. It's just all this horrid, barbaric shit. And what my mind can't wrap my head around is that thousands of people must do this job pretty much every single day or 6 days a week in Australia. They have been doing that for the longest time and they will continue to do it unless eating meat gets outlawed or something. And it just boggles my mind that like people in a first world country in Australia, they can find enough people to do that job so that we can basically fulfill the chicken genocide that happens every single day because everybody loves the chicken, man. So that's one instance where I'm like, how are they finding all these fucking people? And maybe my privilege is showing here a little bit, but I guess I've been to rural areas, poor parts of Australia, where yeah, even if it's like you're from the wrong side of the tracks and you want a job, a lot of people can like, I don't know, get a skill to be a tradie or something. But and so I guess I don't dispute the fact that it's like some people do this job. When I was growing up, I worked at this fucking my summer job was working at this nursery, pot plant nursery where my buddy's mother worked, and so she hooked us up, got us these summer jobs. And down the road there was a chicken farm, and I know some teenagers work there. So it's like, yeah, I can understand that a few, but just like the fact that there's thousands of people in a first world country willing to do that type of work, and then they find enough people. How do they find enough people to do every job that we need to do in the world? It seems like the concept of unemployment just would be impossible. How are they finding enough fucking people and the right amount of different people in each place? All the fucking libertarians, free market fuckheads out there will be splooging in their pants right now as I'm saying this. It's just like freedom of movement, man. It all works. All the ice cream drips into the right little crevices. Yeah, I get it, kind of, but it just seems like it seems a little too convenient that we've got enough people to do all sorts of different jobs, especially the grimy ones, especially in places where it's like first world country, people earn tons of money working fucking laptop jobs, or even if you're a fucking landscaper or something in Australia, you can earn decent coin. You don't have to kill chickens or work in a factory. How are they finding enough fucking people to do this every single day? You think if 1,000 people showed up to that job, 900 would quit, and then so you'd be looking for 900 more the next day. Anyway, this is one instance where I'm like, something's not right here. Another one would be I just believe that people are speaking Chinese. I feel like, and I've heard people say that, oh, like in Chinese, you can just say the same fucking thing. You can say like sandal. No, like it's kind of like Donnie Brasco, where it's like forget about it. It's like, oh, it can mean forget about it. It can mean forget about it. Don't want to do it. It can mean I really want to do it. Forget about it. It can mean or sometimes just means forget about it. Literally, never think about it again. I think about that with the fucking Chinese. People talking about, yeah, you can say the same word and it's completely contextual, and it takes you, you can be you can speak it for 20 years. You can be a native speaker and still not know what the fuck people are saying. In my head, I'm like, ding, 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 ding. This shit is made up. This isn't real. This is code, baby. And it's like they got, because I'm of course at the center of the universe in this simulation. They just need to fool me. And I'm aware of my limitations. They know I'm not they program me to be not that linguistically sound. So they were like, yeah, just with the Chinese, phone it in, just make it sound kind of vaguely Asian, pretty much like every other Asian accent. And this dumb fuck won't be able to tell the difference. Because, yeah. And I don't know, just sprinkle a few things in the news that he'll consume and say, yeah, lots of words are the same. And then that way it'll save us time writing the code because we can just use the same fucking words over and over. Put it in through a generic Asian sounding filter, and this fuckhead won't have a clue. I think that's what's happening. So I'm very curious, and I don't want to hear about deja vu or dreams. Fuck that. But if you've got any other ideas about what you think suggests we're living in a simulation is, please let me know. And I guess the final thing I will say here is that I listened to a interesting podcast a little while ago on Sam Harris's podcast where he was talking to this British scientist who'd done some research in terms of how the brain interprets natural phenomenon. This dude was basically saying that with our senses, I think they were mainly talking about sight, but yeah, the way the optic nerve works is that it's basically taking a guess in terms of what's coming in, and then it's leaving an imprint in your mind's eye, and that's the kind of image that you're seeing. However, it's not. It's a simulation in and of itself because you're not. It's not a perfect instrument. Your optic nerve or your eardrum nervous system, you can't get everything properly, so you're guessing. So in wrap your head around this one. It is a simulation, man. You are a simulation machine because you're trying to interpret what's happening around in the world, and you're doing like a half-hearted effort. You're doing like a 65% out of 100, if that. Evidenced by the fucking blind spot test. So anyway, that's kind of interesting when you think about that, where you're like, is there other stuff out there? But I don't know. I don't really subscribe to that shit where it's like, there's fucking dragons and shit floating around. If we had a better optic nerve, we'd be picking up on them. And I like the retort to that type of thing as well, where it's like, yeah, you think you're living in a simulation, let me punch you in the head, and then we can talk about simulation. So I feel like I'm more interested in the stuff where it's like, hang on, this like sociological narrative or cultural narrative or the way society functions. It feels like they've taken some shortcuts here or there, not so much my interaction with the physical world. Because I don't know, that the whole kind of concept of like my reality is the only reality I can know. I don't know if anyone's out there, and I just accept that. It's like, yeah, you're never going to get around that unless we have a mind swapping machine. I don't really know how you see the color red, nor you don't know how I see the color red. Now we're really getting back to the first time you smoke weed. These age old conversations. But yeah, tell me about your thoughts in terms of what societal cultural things suggest this whole thing is full of shit and we're being lied to. All right, catch you on the next one.